Hey guys, welcome back to Nintendo News. I just want to go over what was the best and worst course in every cup in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe before Mario Kart World comes out. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. First, we have the Mushroom Cup. What I personally think is the best one would be Mario Kart Stadium. And then what I think is the worst one is Thwomp Ruins. Then we have the Flower Cup. The best one I personally think is Toad Harbor. But then the worst one is Twisted Mansion. And I'm only going to say why I think this is the worst one. This is the only one I'm saying why. I think Twisted Mansion is the worst one because it's basically just they remade Luigi's Mansion, but they call it Twisted Mansion and then just considered it a new one. Like, why? It's Luigi's Mansion, so why randomly just redo some things and then just slap on a new title onto there and say, oh, it's Twisted Mansion now. There's no such thing as Luigi's Mansion. There's no such thing. But anyways, then we have the Star Cup. I think what my favorite one, and I personally think is the best one, would be Electrodrome. Then what I think is the worst is Dolphin Shoals. Then we have Special Cup. I think the best one is Bowser's Castle because I just love the music. And then the worst would be Bone Dry Dunes. Then we have the Egg Cup. I think the best is Excite Bike Arena, and then the worst is Yoshi Circuit. Then we have the Crossing Cup. Don't hate me for this, but I love Baby Park, and then I think the worst one would be Cheeseland. Then we have the Shell Cup. We're on to retro ones now, guys. The Shell Cup, I think the best one is Moo Moo Meadows. It's just so nostalgic. I played it on the Wii. It's just such a good one. And then we have the worst, which would be Cheap Cheap Beach. Then we have the Banana Cup. I think my favorite one, which I personally think is the best, is Donkey Kong Jungle, or in other words, DK Jungle. And then the worst of which I think is Dry Dry Desert. Then, with the Leaf Cup, I think the best one is Music Park, and I think the worst one is Yoshi Valley. Then we have the Lightning Cup. I think the best one is the N64 Rainbow Road, and then I think the worst is Tick-Tock Clock. Then, with the Triforce Cup, I think the best is SNES Rainbow Road, and the worst is Ice Ice Outpost. Then, we have the last one for the Mario Kart 8 courses, is Bell Cup, and I think the best one is Ribbon Road, and then I think the worst is Big Blue. And now, we're going to go to the DLC Booster Course Pass ones. For the first, we have Golden Dash Cup. I think the best is Coconut Mall, which, who could blame me, it's amazing. And then we have Paris Promenade. Then we have the Lucky Cat Cup. Best, in my opinion, I think, is Ninja Hideaway, and then I think the worst is Shroom Ridge. Then we have the Turnip Cup. The best one, in my opinion, would be Waluigi Pinball, because who doesn't love Waluigi Pinball? It's just such a cool and creative course. Then we have the worst, which I personally think is Mario Circuit 3 from the SNES. Then we have the Propeller Cup. I think the best is Sky High Sunday because I just love the music in it. It's just so catchy. And then we have the worst, which is Snowland. Then we have the Rock Cup. I think the best is Maple Treeway from the Wii, which I just love Mario Kart Wii. And then I think the worst is Boo Lake. And then we have the Moon Cup, which I think the best is 3DS Rainbow Road, and I think the worst is Berlin Byways. Then we have the Fruit Cup. I think the best is Yoshi's Island. It was just so creative, and I loved it. And then we have the worst, which I personally think is Amsterdam Drift. Then we have the Boomerang Cup, which I think the best is Waluigi Stadium. Then I think the worst is Bangkok Rush. Then we have the Feather Cup, which I think the best is Squeaky Clean Sprint, and I think the worst is Athens Dash. Then we have Cherry Cup. I think the best is Koopa Cape, and I think the worst is Sunset Wilds. Then we have Acorn Cup, which I think the best is DK Mountain, and I think the worst is Piranha Plant Cove. Then we have the Spiny Cup, which I think is the best is Wii Rainbow Road, and I think the worst is Major Drive. And that's it, guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and that's just all I wanted to do. Thank you.